I'm saying it's real is the FDA knows it's real, right? So if you think about the vaccines are not traditional vaccines. Clear to everyone, right? Something's different about them. Some people know exactly what they're new, but what they really are is they're defined as gene therapy products, right? And there's an FDA definition of a gene therapy in their document on shedding from 2015. And in that document, they state that a gene therapy is any time you inject genetic material and that material then produces a product, okay? Clearly that's what these vaccines are, right? We inject mRNA makes spike, gene therapy, okay. In that document, they state that all gene therapy products should undergo shedding studies, not only in animals, but in humans. And there's no shedding studies that have been done on these gene therapies.
Now you're saying it's actually exiting the body somehow. Like how? Is it through the...
Yeah, so you just brought up the second piece of the puzzle. So the first piece is that we have to understand that gene therapies shed, that the FDA knows they shed, that they want studies to be done on shedding. But the other thing that we need to know about these vaccines is they belong to another category of therapeutics. So not only do they fit under the gene therapy category, but they fit under what's called nanoparticle technology. That's the key to your question. So the mRNA is delivered in lipid nanoparticles. And lipid nanoparticles are synthetic, right? They're made in the lab, but they're the natural counterpart to something in our bodies called exosomes. So exosomes are part of how our bodies signal, do cell-to-cell communication. They're almost like little hormones. Lots of communication is done with exosomes. And what happens is when you inject a lipid nanoparticle, the thing about nanoparticles is that they can traverse almost any physiologic barrier. That's why that lie about staying in the arm, there's no nanoparticle technology that's ever stayed where you put it in because it naturally traverses all boundaries. And so it spreads throughout the body. We have knowledge of that from EMA documents, from FOIA documents, from studies, autopsy studies. You can see that it disseminates throughout. And so going to your question, right? So in order for something to shed, you would need to put genetic material in, make spike antibody. The spike antibody would then have to be taken up by natural exosomes. And that's the key. And so in my document, I kind of did a summary of all the research I've done. But there's an affinity of exosomes for the spike protein. And we have a number of papers showing spike protein within exosomes circulating in the blood. And you can actually find spike protein in breast milk. Exosomes and LNPs are known to cross the placenta. And they're rapidly absorbed in the lung and exhaled through the lung. We think the predominant form of shedding is via the exhaled breath and then someone inhaling that's close by. And once you inhale, they absolutely attach to lung tissue and they diffuse across the cells and they can traverse through the body. So we have the science, we have the evidence for all of it. And again, I base this on other products do the same. And so we know the science is there. But the fact is there was no studies to be done to what extent it is, and this topic is highly censored when you bring it up because the implications are vast. In fact, myself and my collaborator, who's an anonymous researcher and physician, goes by A Midwestern Doctor, who did a lot of work with me on this, we think that if knowledge of this is understood and disseminated, it's probably we think it'd probably be the greatest driver to get this campaign stopped, of mass vaccinating really the planet with a gene therapy. We have over 1,000 clinical sort of case testimonials that we've been able to review and compile, and it's all part of that document. I mean, if you start to mass vaccinate an entire population, and now I am at risk of the intervention that you took, and I'm at risk of now being exposed to the spike protein that you're making, and that can make me sick. And then the thing that troubles me the most, right, this multifaceted fraud of these vaccines, each layer that we uncover, my shedding work came on the heels of all the work of like McKernan, where they're finding DNA plasmids, and those plasmids can go into exosomes. So here's my issue. I have never gotten sick from shedding. I'm not sensitive to shedding. I've been around many vaccinated. But what if I am getting DNA plasmids in those exosomes, which have those promoter sequences that could potentially cause cancer? And now my prognosis, my health is now being affected by your intervention. And that, I mean, That is, if we still care about medical ethics, bodily autonomy, and informed consent. I haven't seen good evidence of that in the way societies behave.
I need a dollar, dollar, a dollar is what I need. Hey, hey, I need a dollar, 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 it's what I need. Hey, hey.